Hello, everybody. This is Keisha. I am one half of the host of the Regal Mindset podcast show. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
This is Dr. Joy, the coach. I'm the other half of the Regal Mindset Show, and we got
Sure.
something for you today.
For sure. So listen, tonight's title is Chosen, Not Obligated, right?
Hmm.
Going to be a very interesting conversation. It falls under the pillar of family, right? To some degree, we all have family, or at least somebody that we care about, right? And we're going to discuss, what that looks like, right? And sometimes is it may be a sensitive or a challenging conversation to be a part of this tonight's episode. Let me say that. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. So, basically, what it is loyalty can sometimes be weaponized, right, in some people's lives, and how they do that and how it shows up can vary depending on the person, right? I know myself, I've had experiences or times where I've, cared about another person or we've related on some level, not necessarily in a relationship, but they've kind of weaponized the fact that um, I don't, just let people go. Like most of the people that are in my life have been in my life for a long time, right? Not just in and out. So sometimes people use that to their or to their advantage, but the other person's disadvantage.
Okay.
Have you had an experience? I'm sure.
I have, but you know what? I'm a Cancer, so like when I'm done, I'm done.
Right.
I
No,
don't
I
circle
get
the
it.
block on friends, relationships, jobs. I don't care. Well, actually, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take that back because it is one job that I might circle back to. But outside of that, I don't plan
Yeah.
on. I just don't even use you as a reference because I don't plan on seeing you or talking about you no more.
Yeah. No, I get it. Listen, again, I there was one particular relationship that comes up for me, in that it was just a friendship, kind of, so to speak. It was
Mhm.
developing, or we were. Let me be honest. So we were seeing each other, but we were both in a situation where we had just gotten out of a relationship, and she was holding on so tight, because she didn't want to necessarily let me go. At the
Right.
same time, she wasn't able to be honest, right, where she was, right? Had she just told me, listen, I'm not sure really what it is that I want, right? And we, at this age, or at the time, we were way in adulthood in terms of should be able to communicate to the other person what it is that you want and don't want. Don't
Right.
abuse the fact that I care for you, I like you, I like spending time with you, and to the limits, right? Like that just doesn't make sense. Why do you want to waste people's time? You can't get that back.
Because they don't value it. And I mean, and if we can be honest, most people don't put a value on time until they're over the age of 40. And even then, they still don't value time until you get a different mindset to where time is given a dollar sign, then you're going to always fight that battle of like, we could have been here by now. No, because in all actuality, like when you first started your first job and we was making what, about $5 back then,
Yeah, if
we was
that.
trading time for money and we thought it was a
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah.
Let somebody offer you $5 now. You gonna be looking at it just like that, like you get off my,
Yeah.
because you've learned the value of your time. So
Yeah.
we don't learn that even in relationship because, like you said, there's no honesty of where you are or what you really want. But if I can hold on to this person long enough, maybe it'll change. Maybe no. And
Yeah.
when before me and Shay got married, we was in the same similar situation
Mm.
where you wanted to be here, but you didn't want to be here. You wanted to be over there, but you're not gonna let me go because so we've been through all of that. So
Yeah.
I get it, but then what would have happened if she would have let go? What would I be now? It could have been a totally different outcome. We may have even came back as a better version of ourselves because we went through so much hurt going through
Mm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much tug of war.
Mm-hmm.
we probably would have been in a different space, and or we may not have ever came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I get
but
that.
like,
Yeah. Well, and again, so in this space of the LGBT, and we're approaching June here in a couple of days, in the LGBTQ community, that often sometimes happens, right? And I do not understand. Well, I do understand now, right? But when we're in it, I mean, I cannot imagine. Again, I was a little almost 8 years, and every woman that I dated or came across or what have you, I always told them, I said, listen, if this is too much for you, right? If this, becomes too it, anything other than I'm not stay, please. I don't have to. And you shouldn't have to. So I always let them know, look, just tell me, right? Coded, don't not say anything, be woman enough, come to me and tell me that. I don't mind letting you go, right? But sometimes when people see that you're a good person, that you're a provider and that you're attentive and all the things, they want to hold on to you for that reason. And that's not necessarily fair, because like I said, you can't get that time back, right? And hopefully you get to a place where you learn, right? Because I value myself and my time. If you can't decide, with the time, I have to let you go.
But that's the lesbian community, they like a one and done. We got to be honest. They get in that one relationship and they will fight tooth and nail. It ain't that many that be like, you know what, this is not working. Let's, what is it, amicable, please, whatever, separate.
Amicably.
Like we can't,
yeah.
We can't just separate and be friends. It's always a struggle, and that's just our community. Like especially if it's their first time out, they think the first girl they was with is going to be they all in, be all in. It was like, girl, I got 3 more that I need to get through before, And then it's actually, so it's funny because I don't know if you watch Couples Therapy. They actually got this gay couple on there. And they got this, and the more feminine one, she's like, you're my everything. You're the reason why I became better. You introduced me to life. And that stud know that. And now that stud done got tired and want to move on because you done got bored. And
that's
say that again.
Or that's how I received it.
Yeah,
that's how I received
like,
it too.
This playing in our face. And they ain't gonna tell the girl we can have another baby together. Make that make sense.
That is confusing.
Well, we're good parents. Dude, you want to be Shane off of the L word. That's what you want.
And right, they have a habit of doing this little circular thing, right? And to me, right, because you're preventing this woman, if you don't want her and you don't see a future with her, whether you want her to be your kid's other parent or or not, then you need to be honest with her. And it sounds like she is, and the other young lady doesn't want to let her go, or she struggles with letting her go at first.
I promise.
Then she gets to a place.
Yeah, but guess what will happen when that feminine one finds somebody else?
Yeah,
that stuff gonna come trying to run back, because right now it's overwhelming for you to be, you got that little cockiness about you. Oh, she ain't going nowhere. She gonna always want me. Let that girl go find somebody else. It's gonna be an issue. But then I'm also upset at the feminine one, because you should not have lost yourself that much into anybody that you can't see life without that person.
Honestly, sometimes when you're in it, you don't see it in that way. I'm sure you've heard people say, I just want to be in my lover's skin. Like my wife sometimes will say that to me. I'm like, no, it's hot in here.
Jeffrey Dahmerish. What we is Hannibal Lecter? No, you is not putting on my skin. I can't connect to that, because that doesn't even sound realistic to me. I'm trying to figure out, are you moisturizing me so you can put my skin on? What are we doing?
It's crazy, but again, in the LGBTQ communities, that happens often. I don't know if it's just the spirits that connect the same sex, just being able to relate almost immediately. Just I don't know exactly what it is, but that easy. There has to be some kind of healthy boundaries, right? And I'm glad that they're in therapy trying to figure that out.
Is it? They,
Yeah.
they in there making she playing in our face because at the end of the day, if that's when people say they want to be in your skin, I ain't trying to be funny, but that's that. What I hear is either you're gonna be with me or I'm gonna be with you, or we gonna be together. Like, wait a minute, so I don't get a choice. So like I ain't never going nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a
You
little
ain't
too
never
sweet.
going nowhere. You gonna be together forever, happy or sad. You
Yeah.
stay together. That's all that matters.
Well, listen,
That's that Will and Jada.
y- you know what? Maybe that just works for them, right? But eh, and again, they don't necessarily owe us any explanation, right? But it seems like their marriage or their whatever they want to call it these days. I don't even know if they still refer to it as a marriage. It seems like he's able to do what it is he wants to do, and she's able to do the same. And I can respect the level of freedom and fluidity with amongst them, and still maintain a family type of unit. But y'all can, divorce and still do those same things.
But the thing is, marriage at the end of the day is not about the relationship. It's a contract. It is literal a contract because like when we had talked about the 7 or 9 documents we needed that will prove LGBT's relationship out if marriage equality was dismissed. It's
Mm-hmm.
a contract. So even though we have put marriage on such a pedestal, it's a contract. And them separating is so financially entwined. Who wants to go through that?
Yeah.
So
Okay, I get that.
us legally connected ain't got nothing to do with just don't disrespect what we've built together. If
Mm-hmm.
you got a separate apartment across town, that's where you go meet with that one, and so forth and so on. Then y'all do what y'all want to do. But at the end of the day, marriage is literally a contract. That's it. And they're out of California? Oh, they splitting everything. And that's a lot. And so when you really think about it, if you would like I tell me and Shay, now of course I don't have no intentions on separate, but if we separate right now, financially, I'm coming out the pocket more because I got to maintain the lifestyle that she has. And that little one up there. Plus the other children that's involved, because even though they're not my children, they're on my insurance. I'm not going to be able just to drop down to a single rate. So financially, it doesn't make any sense. We would have to go through selling out. Come on, I better know it. We would have to go through selling the house. We would have to go through dividing everything, or her staying in the house and I got to pay for it. No, we married. We good. She ain't got to like me today, but we here.
Yeah. 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 No, I
And
get
so if
that.
you, yeah, and I think people just try to add love in there so much, not knowing you can have love without the marriage because the love is an emotional commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you think that I want her to bring a new boo up in something I got to pay for every month.
Listen, yeah, that's a whole nother show.
And them old folk, they're getting a new relationship, but they won't get remarried because they don't want their social security cut off.
Yeah, true.
She'll purposely probably not get married again so I can keep paying for stuff. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see people doing that. But no, you're absolutely right. You are able to love yourself and still kind of set those boundaries, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
also a part of the conversation. Family roots and how sometimes that gets stuck in that whole little bundle too, right? Chosen but not obligated. Even myself, right? I have some family members, and I'm sure a lot of you listening have family members you wish you could throw back in the pot and choose somebody else. We've talked about
Listen,
that, to some degree before, but yeah, we don't get to choose who our family is really. You're just kind of born into it.
yeah, but then You're right. On some families, they would choose over. I wouldn't choose my family over.
No.
You know why? Because one, I had, I've never had, I never felt uncomfortable in my family.
Mm,
I didn't do the whole closet thing. They never made me feel less loved. Never had that experience. I've never been touched by my uncles or abused by I never had to go through that. And so why would I like I said, no, I'm good with them. You
that's
know, when
great.
I go
Yeah.
look at my family's photos and I see that back then in the 50s and the 60s, my family was on cruise ships, going on family vacations. So they had a really good life. My great grandmother drove a convertible. So it's like, no, I think I'm good. But then when you look at some other people's lives where they've had some very traumatic experiences, then
Yeah.
you can say, okay, I see that. Or,
Mm-hmm.
but then I can also look at experiences that I've had that was traumatic. And then I could be like, you know what? I might have not wanted that moment, but I would still choose my mama, even though half my life she didn't choose me. I
Mm,
would still choose her.
powerful. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, I look at, and I think when we say, could we choose somebody else, we do first go to the badness of what we experience to
Mm-hmm.
justify why. And so, but I look at it, I like what I look like in the mirror. So I
Mm-hmm.
think my family did pretty well. I ain't got these no bumps in this face.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's good genetics.
Yeah. Well, that's good. A lot of people in the LGBT space find it difficult to stay in the family that they were born to, in which
Mhm.
case they often reach out and create other families, right? That's common, at least in the Black community, right? Black LGBTQ community. What she say? Because I'm sorry, family, I learned
Sorry, family.
those lessons. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
But yeah, so that sometimes also, and I understand, like you said, I understand why some people do that, right? If you've
Yeah.
been outcast and you've had some traumatic experiences within the place what you were born in, absolutely, I could understand why you would want to either exile your place, your from your family, and not want to deal with them, and choose another family or another group of people that maybe you don't even call them family, whatever you call them. But yeah,
But
absolutely. I would just say
I would
if some
challenge them though.
people not. Oh, really?
I would
Really?
challenge even that because let's say when you didn't have control over certain things as a child,
Sure.
if you
Yeah.
a child getting abused, that's a different scenario. But you are you're a teenager and you bucking up against your parents. You're trying to live out loud and proud after they done told you, calm that down till you leave my house. Because we talked about this before where it was a
Yeah.
young guy was trying to record his dad. His dad never said, I don't love you. He said, don't do that in my house. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Hmm.
You caused that. They may not have had a problem with you. So where the level of ownership is where I would challenge. It's like, okay, you said your family stopped like you at 18. What did you do when you was 18? Is it because they didn't agree with you? Is it because you felt like because they didn't want to accept you? Is that they don't have to love you?
Mm, that's big too. True.
So it's like, why do we encapsulate love as in flaws and all? No, because there's some things I'm just not going to tolerate. That doesn't mean I don't love you.
Yeah, that's true.
We had an incident in my family where we've never disrespected our uncles or our aunts. That's just not how we were raised. But we had one cousin that did. And I still love him because he's still my cousin. I would cry if something happened to him. But
Hmm.
it ain't nothing he can ever say to me in life because of what he did to my uncle. Because like I told him, we're older than you. We've never got an uncle face. If your daddy was here, he probably would have cut you too short.
Hmm.
So that doesn't mean I don't love you. That mean I would never deal with you in life. It's nothing
Hmm.
you can. I don't care if it's air. You can't ask me for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I think also just to add another dynamic to that, sometimes, especially in same gender loving relationships, both parties or both people come into the relationship with, I don't want to say baggage, with extra,
baggage.
with bonuses. Let's say that, right?
Okay, that
Bonuses
was a
sound
good one.
better,
Not
right?
baggages, but bonuses. Got it.
Yeah, let's say that, right? So, and I'll use myself as an example. My wife, she already had 7 kids, right? I did not have any. So for me, and I'm just speaking for me, it was always a situation where, okay, if I'm, in this new dynamic night, dynamic now, amongst this woman and her kids, and they already have, things gelled out. They've already got like a
Mhm.
routine, and they've got, an understanding. I have to figure out where my place is in that, right? And
That's big.
then from there, go and say, okay, chosen but not obligated. These are some things I feel comfortable with owning and taking up, right? Regardless
Mhm.
of whether the other parent is going to step up or continue to do or what have you, that's great, right? I'm not, dismissing them. I don't want them not present. Absolutely. If that is your other, or you even know that person to be your other parent, they can also be here. But I think sometimes the parent who comes in with that, with no bonuses, get a bad rap, right? One from the
Yeah.
kids, or even sometimes from the other parents who don't necessarily agree with with your partner. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they weren't ready for you to move on. Sometimes maybe they weren't ready for you to be with another woman.
Right. But no, you're absolutely true. It's like, but then we don't have those conversations. I know I didn't. When Shay came with 5, we did not have the conversation. What if they had to come stay with us? Because when they did, that changed a lot. Because
Yeah,
now I'm really outnumbered in my house.
I can
It
see
was
that.
times where I felt like I couldn't even go downstairs. And then, even if they're not making it that type of a bad situation, it's times where they're having conversations about old times and fun that I can't even interact in because I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you weren't there. Yeah.
I wasn't there. And then, so, you just have to have those conversations on what that looked like because just like you, I didn't come in with a bonus. And so, what does that look like for me?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
something that I can take, tolerate? Because then when you find yourself trying to fill in the gaps, and then you're like, is this even a gap that I even need to fill?
Mm.
So and then when you don't do something, then your wife looking at you like, well, you don't love my kids. I ain't say that. But
Chosen,
then
not
when it's
obligated. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not obligated. And then that happened when I said, listen, I
Mm-hmm.
like, but I I'm not obligated to this.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be a defined
That's fair.
situation of, does it put a wedge between you and your spouse? Because you don't
Yeah.
want to come between them and their relationship, but then at the end of the day, they're not in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't expecting to take in, you know, this situation. So what does this look like? Because if it's really going to
Mm-hmm.
be 6 against 1, then one can leave.
Mm-hmm. And
And
I
you
get
just have
that,
to have
right?
those conversations. Right.
Yeah, oh, for sure, absolutely right. On the front end, right before things start getting too sticky, right? Because you don't want to get you into a situation where you can't get unstuck.
Right.
But even to add to that, right? Sometimes people will come into a situation, right? Not that this has happened to me, but they want to have a kid together so that if they're taking care of everybody, then it doesn't feel so one-sided. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you and I need to have a kid together, and just so I don't feel like I'm taking care of just your kids. Like it's my kid and your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Again,
I can
that's
see
never
that.
happened to me. But there are some people who choose to do that, and it works out great for them. I'm just
Right.
not one of those persons. If I were to, first of all, again, and I've said this, parenting as having a kid or even being let me take that back. There's 2 people that I would have had a kid with, but
Mhm.
it just didn't work, right? And I'm totally okay with that, right? And that's only from a place of I respect and love how they parent, right?
Yeah.
And we're on the same page. That's it.
Mhm.
That's all, right? We don't even have to. I would have preferred that it would have been a long-term relationship or marriage or what have you, but that just was never my ministry, right? So
Right.
it's just not. But some people, like you said, they want to come in and they don't want to take care of you and your kids. They want their
Yeah.
own. And that was a
No, and I
conversation
get
I
that.
had early on too. That's not a deal. It's a deal breaker for me. I don't want to have another kid. I don't want to have a kid, period.
And at a certain point in your life, you're like, is it even right? Because, is it even right?
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be a mother since for a long time. I just didn't want to push it. I didn't want to carry it. I was open to carrying it after a while because when you're like, all right, well, it ain't happening. We're in a relationship and nothing like that. But then how it was going to come out was a questionable thing. And I
Yeah.
just didn't want to go through all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always wanted to be a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that. It's just, but you're one hell of a grandparent. So it's crazy to hear you saying, "Oh, I didn't want no kids, but I see you interact with your grandchildren. It's a whole totally different.
Yeah.
Like, no, she was born for this."
Yeah. And you know what? I have to draw on how my grandparents, treated
Mhm.
myself and my brother, right? That's my only reference. Right. And that's just on my mom's side. My father's side, although I knew them, they just were not present
Yes,
as as my grandmother's side. But nonetheless, I feel like, again, if you choose to be there, right? So for me, I'm choosing to be here. And there's about this much respect until the kids get to a place where they understand life, right? And people have choices, right? And if you're choosing to be here and your biological parent is not, and don't give two shits of whatever,
right,
come
right.
on, man. You got, at least when you come in the house, say hello,
And then
stuff like that.
that's a great point because again, my background was different from her background. And one of the concerns that we ran into was education. You're not finna have shit school. That's just not what I feel.
Yeah.
And you come in here and they say write a summary and they only got one line. Well, you're gonna keep doing that line until we get down to at least a paragraph. I don't care.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing because I remember one time Shay was telling the girls, all right, you can wash the dishes, but don't worry, I'll do the pots. Absolutely not. When you gonna wash the dishes, you're gonna make sure them pots clean, you're gonna wipe down them cabinets, wipe down the appliances, sweep that floor. I said, and I want everything wiped down. And I said, and I might want you to mop the floor, depending on what it looked like. To me, when our parents say go clean the kitchen, that's what they meant.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you a menu so you can clean the kitchen on a la carte. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that, and I still don't understand that. It's everything.
Yeah. Well, see, those are conversations that you have on the front end, right? To make sure that the home is a peaceful home, right? That it's not chaos and turmoil all the time. Yes, there is going to be some bumping of heads, right? I think that happens in everybody's house. But yeah, it's just how you handle it, right?
But
And
we didn't
again,
even know to have that conversation. That was
really?
the bad
Oh
part. Yeah,
man, no.
it wasn't a thought.
Yeah. And for me, I think, and I mean, I've had relationships before where they've had kids. I don't know that it would have made much of a difference. If they did come to me and say, yes, I do want another kid. I still think I would feel like as though, no, I'm good on that.
But I think they probably be thinking like, because of the relationship, we can, bring this little love souvenir
You get a
in
dog.
because of the relationship. And
You just get a
I'm
dog.
done with you.
Because
We
I
can
don't
do
know, man.
fish. We can do fish.
Hey,
That thing gonna die anyway, so it don't even much matter.
absolutely. Breaking generational patterns without guilt. Oh man, listen.
That's
I'm
good.
gonna tell you a story. This is my honest truth, right? This is my side of the story, right? This is my story. I feel like sometimes People in your family, right? I'll speak for myself again. Have a level of guilt because either they weren't present or they didn't do enough, they didn't contribute enough, they didn't show up enough, they weren't as good as they could have been at the time, right? And hopefully they've changed and they've gotten better, right? But they still distance you because of that guilt, right? For
Mm-hmm.
example, sometimes maybe my father uh is distant, or maybe he's just a distant dude. I don't know. I don't know. And if he is, again, that's fine. That's just who he is. It is what it is. But because of that guilt, I think there's guilt there. One, let me acknowledge that. And because I remind him of that guilt, let me distance myself with that. Because if I don't, then I have to really deal with it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And
I get it.
hopefully that's not happening. Well, I feel like it probably is though. And on a wider scale, I think that's probably happening.
I can see
If
that.
you if you're dating a woman, let's say y'all have
Mhm.
kids, right? And I fall off for whatever reason and go on create relationships with other people. We all, having a nice little family, and I forget about the kid that you and I had together.
Child support.
But there's some guilt behind how or whatever happened in that relationship. So because
Mm.
I choose not to deal with it, right? Maybe I ain't ready to deal with it. There's some distance between either me and that kid or me and that the spouse or the parent, other parent, or whatever the case is. I think that happens often in LGBTQ relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I can
that's
see that.
crazy to me. Like, that is just
I can
crazy.
see that.
Maybe they don't realize they're doing it, right?
I
Because I
think
can't
that's
in the
it.
conscious see me saying, you know what, I wasn't a shit of a parent, so I'm just gonna eat that and just call it a day. You don't need the parent at this point.
Yeah.
At the very least, I feel like maybe, you know what, I was wrong. Maybe I should have showed up differently. And I'm saying that also from being a co-parent with my wife, and if the baby daddy, right? I've never seen you. Why?
Right. I'm the baby
Maybe
daddy.
they
What are
have
you?
right. Maybe they have some guilt around, how they treated the kid's mother, even in a heterosexual type of relationship.
Mhm.
But that is just crazy to me. Yeah, that's just crazy. Do you have any
No, I
experience
get
with that?
it. I did because it was times before I got into a relationship where I had true friend relationships and I attached to their children. But
Mm.
then when I got in relationships, the person that I was dating didn't want me engaging. So then therefore the
Oh,
child suffered. So yeah.
okay.
And it did leave a lot of guilt
Oh,
because I'm like, I didn't want that, but I wasn't strong enough to create that boundary in the relationship. I
gotcha.
let the relationship win. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I could see that too. I can see that too. I always told,
Mhm.
any woman that I dealt with, if the kids wanted to have a continuing relationship, I was open to that, but I wasn't going to force myself to stick around because that could make it an uncomfortable situation or uncomfortable for her to move on also, right? If you're still there.
Mhm.
And that's another good point. I stopped having god kids at 4. I have 4 god kids. And I stopped at
Mhm.
4 because in my mind, again, I don't have kids. I felt like sometimes the women would want to keep me in their life just so they would have access to me, right? Again,
Yeah.
chosen, not obligated. No, ma'am, no, sir. I have 2 with my best friend, which she is just my best friend. That's it. That's all. And
Mhm.
with other ladies that, we had a relationship with for a period of time. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, that's true. Okay. I had to think about who
Yeah.
they was. Like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's true. But my point in saying that is I did not want to continue to carry um them with me to relationship, right? Luckily, the 2, that I had that I agreed to be their godmother knew most of the people that that I was in relationship after that. And
Mhm.
they understood that the relationship is definitely broken. It is no longer there's no circling the block, and that's just what it
Right.
was. So I was lucky in that sense, but I could see people using that as a weapon both ways. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
When love doesn't feel safe enough anymore.
Ooh.
Whew, wow, I think that happens
Are we
almost.
talking about more of emotional or physical?
So from a place of chosen, not obligated, I think sometimes people get into relationships, right? And not I would say that they're not necessarily out of love, but like the young lady who's in therapy. She's at a place that's very awkward for her. She wants to be able to establish a different level of freedom and explore some other things that she's going through, right? And her wife is not at that place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not that they don't love each other, right? It's I think that they just especially the stud, I think she's just at a period in life where she needs to do work on herself, and maybe it's the healthiest thing for her not to be in that marriage, right? And she's
Okay.
vocalizing that to her wife. It just doesn't sit well initially.
It ain't landing.
Yeah,
It
I think
didn't
now
land.
she's becoming more comfortable with it, but like you said, it's because I think she's realizing, wait, okay, I do have an identity, or I can create an identity outside of just our marriage. Although I lost myself for that period of time, I can like reconnect with myself and find community and things outside of our marriage.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call bullshit on that one with her because it she doesn't give off that type that is not about herself.
Okay.
I'm talking about that stud one.
Right. Right.
She doesn't give that she is so selfless in that relationship. Because how could you come back to her after you've told her all of these things about how I need to find myself? I don't want to be in a relationship. I think we should do this, we should do that, but I want to have another baby with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that part is confusing. What
That took me because I'm
right.
like,
No, I agree.
you're gonna put her emotions in another
Gray area.
right. And
Hmm.
it's just like you playing ping pong with this. Because
Yeah.
if you're truly saying there's really something I need to do and only I can do it,
Hmm.
I'm going to make sure that we still have, a cordial relationship. We have a child together. No obligations are going to go miss, blah, blah. But you give her an inkling that there's an opportunity, then you're not being honest with her
Hmm.
because you're telling me you love the way I parent. Like you said, go get a dog.
Hmm.
But if you try to bring another child into this, that child it says love, relationship, family.
Commitment. Yeah.
You want your even though it's not your cake and eat it too, is your Kate and Edith too. I found that
Ah,
out.
okay.
It's the white names. Oh, you want your Kate and Edith too. You lint liquor. But but and I think that's why I say I would call bullshit because she's not being honest.
Yeah. Well,
She's well, maybe no, she's to me, she's not being honest. It's something else in her
uh-huh.
that you would do all of it. Why you ain't if you've been feeling this way for a while, you should
Yeah.
have did it before that first baby, before we've built a life together. You just didn't wake
I
up
understand that.
feeling, yeah. And that's to
Right.
me is like you could have told me this when if
But
you felt like I was too strong in this relationship
uh-huh.
emotionally, you should have said this before we got that first baby. Because then I could cry by myself
Uh-huh.
and we can split and move. Now we got to explain to our child while we're not in the same house.
Yeah, we've created
You've
another
been
person.
feeling this way.
Yeah. I think she has been feeling this way. And the reason I say that, right? And again, I don't think that she doesn't not love her wife.
Mm-hmm.
She mentioned to the therapist, and she left this part out, but the wife brought it up. She said when they broke up before, she went and got married to some guy for 9 months. And
The
in the process,
stud or the feminine
the
one?
stud, yes, ma'am, you heard me.
Okay, y'all have a good night. I'm ready. I'm ready to
She
go.
said that she got married to a man and realized that that's not where she wanted to be. In her mind, she was struggling with the religious aspect of it, right? And she was going through it. So for her to not have known that she was going to be in this situation again before the first kid, I don't think she would have known that. I think she's going through some things,
And
and
she keep
that's what.
blaming it on the spirituality that she needs to connect. And you struggling with Jesus, and that's not her problem. That's your problem. That you don't want to be gay in real life.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. So, but and again, in my opinion, it's unfair to the femme, to her wife, because she's thinking you're my forever, you are my person, and now you're saying that's not how you feel anymore.
No,
People have
yeah,
the right to
no.
change their mind, but
I'll
she's
be
been
collecting her
doing
life
this.
insurance at this point. I'm collecting life insurance because you're not gonna play with me like that. You're not gonna be dicking and diking and then think it's okay. And you think I'm gonna run back, you're gonna keep running back here because you know my heart is so open to you. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And she
So
know what she did. She played it. She played it. She made sure that she gave that girl a first of everything. I took you on your first
yeah,
plane ride, your first trip to make
well, we
sure that
don't
she
say.
kept. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can see. You know, mm-mm.
yeah.
You gonna die
Well,
today.
in that in in that case, then I would say that yeah, love doesn't feel necessarily safe to her wife, because of the things that
That
she's
she's
taken
not
her
a
through.
safe person, and
Yes.
and emotionally, she's not a safe person because there's no way that you. That's a narcissistic behavior.
Hmm.
That you would make a person fall that hard to where that you're the only thing they can consume. And then for you to like, you know what? You're not enough for me. I need to find out. It's not you, it's me.
yeah,
But then when
yeah,
you turn around, but I don't want you to go nowhere because we need another baby. Make
yeah,
that make sense. That now that people is narcissistic behavior, not just because a person told you off and you got in your feelings. No, that is narcissistic behavior.
yeah,
When you're trying
yeah.
to benefit off of somebody else's emotions
Hmm.
at the detriment of them, but for the benefit of yours, that's narcissistic behavior.
Yeah. And like, I understand that she's dealing with something, and I'm glad because she could have led her wife on and been doing whatever she was going to do. And it's like, I'm
Mm.
glad that she was able to be honest and share that with her, and have her wife decide to do with that what she will. But it's in my opinion, it is unfair. Choosing
She
yourself
got what
without.
she wanted out of it, though. She shared it, and her wife stayed. So then,
Yeah.
therefore, she got what she was looking for out of it. No matter how much I hurt you or bring
Hmm.
discomfort, my feelings are still more important than yours because I went ahead and did what I did. But as long as I let you know and cleared the air, you can hold it against me if you decide to say, well, that's very narcissistic.
Mm, mm. And
No,
perhaps maybe
mm-mm.
she's
She
just,
need to call that
clearing her
policy.
conscience.
Yeah, and but that is so screwed up because you still didn't mean it for the intention. To me, it appears that she didn't mean it for the intentions of them being healthy.
Hmm.
She is playing that group home boundary check. Is you gonna love me when I do this? Don't play double dutch with me
Yeah.
because I can love you by yourself. But let that girl say, F this, take that baby and go establish a life.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like that. So I knew it was somebody else over there. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I would agree with
That's
that.
her gonna be on there crying.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, I
she
hope
gonna
not.
leave us like that? We family. We got a kid together. Did you forget what you did?
Yeah, yeah. I think she'll get her thoughts together real quick.
Her and Jesus ain't gonna be friends no more after that. I promise.
What she said, I may be screwed up, but if she told her and the other girl that's insecure, or whatever. Well,
Now she got to watch. I don't think she watched the episode. You got to watch this because I promise you're gonna be on our side.
I really like the show. It is a good show. Um,
Especially the one with
choosing,
the boy on the spectrum. It really is good.
yeah, yeah, that's yeah.
That was weird.
Well, yeah. I for some reason I thought he was
An
gay,
adult.
but I don't know. And then for him to even find out and that he was autistic when he was an adult, now that is challenging, right? That
It's
was
challenging, but you
that's
can
a
kind of
little
look at him and say, "Sir, we knew. How do you not know? We could see it." Dude, you went and bought, you ain't even have a bed. You had a twin bed as a grown man. You're autistic.
oh.
You are autistic. There's nothing else that I can say about that. You ain't got no twin bed as a grown man. Something ain't clicking.
Yeah, that's what she was really mad about because she ain't want to sleep with no twin
And then
man
you gonna go buy a whole TV when she wants you to go get a bed.
with her credit card.
That we saw the signs. When I seen him and he was doing all of this, I
Yeah.
knew right then, sir, you're autistic. You on the spectrum, but on the
Yeah.
far end. You about to
Yeah.
fall off. I don't know why
Yeah.
ain't nobody told him.
Yeah. Well, and then I think to some degree, maybe the mom didn't want, she kind of wanted to continue to shelter him. But if he was wondering, like I think he knew something was off. He just couldn't put his finger on what it actually was. He couldn't give it a
He
name.
just had to ask somebody. You just need to ask somebody.
Ah, so then you having people self-diagnose them, and then yeah,
Well,
that's
no,
I just
because
never
if
gonna
you
stand
would
about.
think back, if your homeroom class was all day, if you ate lunch with a small group of people, or you was in that building that was outside the school, the little trailer one, that was you. There were signs. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Now that we look back, maybe. Rebuilding healthy support systems. Rebuilding healthy support systems. I'll say the rebuilding part takes me to oftentimes, especially in LGBTQ community, when we're in relationships, especially one where our loved ones or our family units or people who care about us don't like the other person, then when
Mhm.
that relationship is over, we definitely have to rebuild those relationships because that in itself is is ruining the relationship you have with your loved ones, with your family.
Mhm.
And that I know happens often, especially in our
It
community.
happens a lot. But why did the relationship was damaged? Because if it was you're disrespecting my partner, that's something different.
True.
I don't care what you do with your life. But if my partner is disrespecting you and I just have to be on their side for peace sake, that's a whole nother battle. Because when my mom disrespected Shay, Shay didn't even hear her. But when my mom disrespected Shay, I said what I said. And we ain't never got to talk no more. And when we started back talking, when she came out of that coma, Shay was the first one that she said, I'm sorry, because you knew better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because we see quite often how parents get involved because they feel like that person is taking their place or taking the love that they were getting from that child.
Yep.
And that causes a lot of conflict
Mm-hmm.
when you got to pick your mama over your relationship. No,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm gonna go Bible on this. It's leave and cleave. That's it. The Bible tells
Yeah.
you to leave your family and cleave to your wife.
Yeah.
So I don't even understand how you allowing that to happen. But then you got those times where what the friend group, I told you we ain't like him. He probably was trash. I get it. But
Yeah.
your real friend is not going to leave you. They may take a
Distance
beat
themselves. Yeah.
back. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think a real friend, they'll be like, I'm telling you how I feel. I tell you what I see. Because sometimes they don't care how many red flags.
True.
They saw green.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, hey, I told you how I felt. You know, you do with it what you will, but I'm always be here for you. I had a
Yeah.
whole friend that did me like that.
Mm-hmm.
I told her what they were saying. that, the girls he was sleeping with at the job, she got mad at me. And I'm like, but I'm not sleeping with him. I'm pointing out the one. I'm your friend. I'm telling you. That one, the one that's smiling in your face. And she went off on me. And I was like, say less.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you ain't never
Man,
gonna
that's
come. You
crazy.
ain't tell me why you ain't tell me. I did. I literally did.
Yeah.
But do you feel that there's a separation in that to where it's allowable or permissible?
Uh, no. Because like you said, I feel like if you're it depends on the friendship, right? The level of friendship, even the family dynamics, right? If your family I did the coming out type of thing, but I don't think I gave them my family enough time to make a decision, right? I think because and I really didn't, because in my mind I didn't care.
Right.
What they never did, ever, what they never did, whether they liked or respected my relationship or my stance or my sexuality or whatever, they never disrespected the partner
Mm-hmm.
that I was with. They never did that. I think because they know me. It feels like because
Yeah.
they know
I'm
me.
like, they ain't gonna try
They
you.
know, yeah, that we not doing that. So from that perspective, no. Now a friend, I think your friend, your true friend, is going to be your friend, and that happened to me as well. I had a friend.
Mhm.
We have been friends for years, almost 15, maybe almost between 15 and 20 years, and was in a situation, a domestic violence situation with her partner. And I explained to them just kind of casually, right? I didn't put no pressure on them. I just said, you ain't even got to do this. Like I don't understand what's going on with you. And I
Mhm.
didn't talk to her for years, 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 years. And in my mind, I was carrying the feeling that it was too easy for you to let me go. And I'm just telling you, I'm just trying to look out for you because I care for you, because I love you as my friend. And apparently she did not feel the same in the same way. But nonetheless, we've been able to get past
Mhm.
that after having some conversations. But things like that, yeah, those things happen. I think it depends on the friendship and or the family member.
Got it. I can get that.
Yeah,
But they probably was too scared to say something to you anyway. They was like, nah.
for sure,
She gonna cut us off.
for sure, for sure. But
Yeah, I get that.
even if they did, I think that I would have listened to what they said. You just can't be disrespectful, right? Because that can go
Right.
two ways, right? I may not like the boyfriend you got. Now that actually happened to me when I was a kid. My mom, she had a boyfriend for
Mhm.
years. I want to say they was probably together like 10, maybe 10 years. I could not stand that man. Couldn't stand him. And I let him know I couldn't stand him. So I'm a Taurus.
Right.
But in my mind, I had a valid reason as to why I didn't like him. And I was always vocal about it. And I always told my mother, I said, I don't understand how you get up and go to work every day. And he's sitting here looking at the TV. Like, this messaging don't make sense for me. But I will say later, you had your son doing the same thing. So for me, I already knew as a kid, as a teenager, this ain't the type of messaging that I would want to have in my house. You need to, I don't care what the income look like, but you need to go dot that door and go get somebody's
Mhm.
job, bring some money in this house. You don't get to just sit here and be whoever you want to be, right? So for me, and I'm sure it
Right.
was uncomfortable for my mom's relationship, but I just could not stand that dude. I couldn't stand that dude, and every moment I got, I let him know I just don't like you. So I guess if being secretive and sneaky about the dislike,
Right.
then yeah,
And
you're
it's
gonna have
it's
to
like that
rebuild some
sometimes. And
relationship.
then they
Yeah. So
okay, there you go.
I would say, and I know we're about to wrap up here shortly, but
No, I'm with you on that. I'm
yeah,
with you when you're right.
yeah, yeah. I think that obviously there could have been a better way that I handled it, right? But at that age and at that time, I just did not have the tools to be able to do that. But at the very least, again, I knew enough as a teenager that the messaging that you're displaying, the behaviors in this house ain't right. This ain't right. And before we
Mhm.
log off,
I know my stepdad.
go ahead. Can you hear?
Oh, I think it's like a little lag. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like my stepdad told me that he said, what you say is always right. You just say it the wrong way. And that's how I was. Because my mom, she was in multiple relationships and I didn't agree with the relationship, not because they wasn't, my type. One was a crackhead. He literally walked down the street with a big back 36-inch screen TV on his shoulder. He literally, one day, he dropped her off to work and drove to another state. And she had to call me to come pick her up because he was in a different state before she even got off work. So, yeah, I said something about it. Then, yeah, I dealt with her, the other man she was with, but this man was not only emotionally abusive to us, he was physically abusive to us, but more to my mom. He beat her
Mm,
into a heart attack. I was 12. She was
mm,
32. So, no, I don't. I don't get it. I am going to say how I feel.
mm-hmm.
So, and then at the end, you don't want to sit there and say, I told you so. But but when my mama got married to that crackhead, when she didn't invite us to the wedding, she knew we knew it was a problem then. You invited all of your church friends, but you didn't invite your own kids because you knew we was not going to be happy with that crackhead.
Yeah.
But what I did was I went and got my sister, my youngest sister, and took her out of that situation because not necessarily that he would touch her, but he could have. Two, because we didn't know what crack was doing back then. We had good
Mm-hmm.
crackheads and bad crackheads. Plus, one day, one Christmas, he came in there and took everything from up on the tree and went and sold it. Try replacing gifts and bicycles the day before Christmas for a
Yeah.
kid. No. So no. But that brought a disconnect between my mom and myself
Yeah.
because I'm running everybody off. I'm mean to everybody. I'm like, he had a 36-inch screen big back on his shoulder. That's supernatural strength. And
For
there's only
sure.
one drug I know that can do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. That's crazy to me.
We need help toting it to move it from show back.
That's crazy. Okay, I think your screen is froze. But so the reason I was gonna say I was gonna add this last bit before we leave. I wrote a song using AI called "Love Me
Mhm.
More" that really speaks to this topic that we're talking
Mhm.
about tonight. And there's two versions of it, right? There's a country twist version, and then there's a blues version of the same
You
song.
gonna
It's on Apple iTunes. I'm gonna try to link it under the post, but I want y'all to take a listen to it and tell me what it is that you think from of the song. And I also want to encourage everybody reflect on the relationships where you need to shift from obligation to choice. Reflect on those relationships that you need to
Mhm.
either
Like
look at
that.
them from obligation or if you're choosing. I think that's great.
You can't play the song on our way out, like play it and then let it
The
close us
reason
out.
I think it was it was
Like
just
add it
on.
to
It was just on. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see if I can link it to. Okay, I can't find my music. Before I dress my wounds, cooked your food while mine sat cold. Held your dreams up like they were holy things, and let mine gather dust and mold. I learned to make myself real small, so you could have the room. But baby, something's breaking these walls, and I can't keep living in your shadow and call it home. I'm empty, running on space, running on everything but grace for me. Mercy, mercy, I have to love you more. I have to love you more. Can't keep going without you on my own. So crying for when you first put me there. Maybe I can do it no more. Do me more. I have to love Okay, I was able to put them in the chat.
Okay.
Well, one
I
of them.
see it. That sounds good though. I love that. Make you go while my own soul's trying to walk when you first put me there. Do it no more. You, Lord, I have to ask you, Lord. Okay. So that was the country. Yeah, that was the country one. And like I said, it's on. They're both on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. It's on all the social media platforms and the wherever you stream your music from. But I wrote that song basically because you get to a place in life where you have to choose yourself, right? I have to love me more than I love you. Period. Point blank. I like
That's not going to work. I have to love me more than I love you. And oftentimes, especially in the LGBTQ community, we don't take that into consideration until it's too late. And we've damaged the core of our thoughts and beliefs about ourselves. And we have to do the work that's necessary to repair that before we move on into another relationship. So hopefully you guys will take a listen. Let me know what it is you think. Again, reflect on those relationships where you need to shift from obligation to choice. Right? We have a choice that we can make. You don't have to do anything but stay black and die. And if you're not black, then whatever nationality you are, that's what you are. That's what my mom used to say to us. All right. So you got anything else?
No, we're going to end on that note.
Cool. All right. Well, until next time, keep a regal mindset and we'll talk to you soon.